So, good day everyone. So, we are the group 9 and this is our topic interaction and interdependence. So, plants and animals live together in ecosystem. They interact with each other and the non-living parts of ecosystem. They rely on ecosystem for shelter, food, protection and breeding. Interaction and needs different relationship between living organisms in ecosystem. So, what is ecology? Ecology is the study of interaction between living things and with their physical and chemical environment. So, ecology is study of how living things and their surrounding work together. It talks about how plants, animals, people, and even tiny organisms depend on each other to live. It also studies how things like water, air, sunlight, and soil affect life on Earth. For example, plants give food and oxygen to animals and people. Animals help plants grow by spreading their seed or giving nutrients to the soil. This teamwork between living things and non-living things makes up what we call an ecosystem. So, ecology helps us understand how human action like cutting down trees, throwing trash, and pollution the air can harm nature. By learning about ecology, we can take better care of the environment, saving natural resources, and keep the earth safe and clean for future. So, in simple words, ecology teaches us that everything in nature is connected and we must protect our environment so all living things can survive. So, this is level of classification used by scientists during the study of ecosystem to classify. First is population, a group of individuals of the same species living in the same ecosystem at the same time. So my explanation, population means a group of living things of the same kind that living together in one place at the same time. For example, all the people living in a town are the human population. And the second, all dogs in village are the dog population. In science, especially in ecology, people study population to understand how living things live, grow, and survive. A population can increase when more babies are born or when new members come. It can decrease when some die or move away. Population also depend on their surrounding. If there is enough food, water, and shelter, the population will grow, but if these are not enough, it may become smaller. All living things, people, animals, and plants affect each other. When one population changes, it can also affect other around it. So, in a simple word, population means the number of living things of the same kind living together in one area. It helps us understand how living things share space, food, and other needs to live and grow.
Hello everyone, my name is Christine Joy from Dona and I am the one who report the community different populations that interact with one another in the same ecosystem. So a community is made up of different groups of living things, populations that live and interact with each other in the same environment or ecosystem. That means it's not just one kind of species, but it's many kind of plants, animals living together and depending on each other to survive. So kini siya bisag lahi sila, pero kung nagpuyo sila sa usa ka lugar, magtinamangay sila bisag lahi-lahi ang ilang mga buluhaton. Okay, for example, ang kabaw, langgam, o kanang baki is nagpuyo sila sa kahumayan. So, ang kabaw, ang iyang buhatonon is tig araro, di ba kanang tigduot para matanong kuan ang mga humayan, katong humay. And then, ang katong sang langgam muna tigkaon sa mga small animals. For example, katong kuan, kanang maybe insect yata. So, katong mga ud, di ba siya tigkaon ato, siya tigtuka para ang katong tanong dili madaot. Ang baki mausad gyapon tigkaon gyapon siya sa insect, but it different kind of insect. Ang yung kanon is mga langaw, something naging anak, mga unsa pa nang mutugpa kay ang uban anak makadaot man sila sa tanom. So mauna ang katong different populations that interact with one another in the same ecosystem. So muna ang community. So kanang for example, katong akong gingon ganina nga ang carabaos, animals that help in farming. So, ang katong rice plant mauto ang tanom. And then the frog, it's the insect. And the bird it's the grains or small animals. So, like mauna ang example. So, ecosystem, all of the living and non-living things in an environment and the different ways in which they interact with each other. So, an ecosystem is made up of all living and non-living things, an environment and how they interact with each other, like fish, frog, and plants living together with water, soil, and sunlight. So kini siya nagpasabot ni siya nga kanang ang tanang hayop, tanong tubig, hangin ug yuta magkaiho sa aron maporma ug mabalanse ang kanang kinaiyahan. So kanang ang kato siya is naman to siya buhing butang ug buhing butang, mo to ang non-living things and living things. So kay bao naman tana, di ba? So ang katong living things is mo to ang isda, baki, tanom, o unsa pa na diha nga nay mga kinabuhi. So ang katusang non-living things mo to siya ang mga way kinabuhi, tubig, yuta ug kahayag sa adlaw. Mao na siya. And then so kini sila is nagkahiusa silang tanan, ang tanong magamit sa adlaw para mabuhi. Ang isda ug baki mukaon sa tanom ug gagmayng hayop, ug ang tubig ug yuta maoy ilang uyanan. So mao na ang ecosystem. So ang ecosystem mao na ang tanang buhing butang, living ug dili buhing butang, non-living. So nga nagpuyo sa usa ka palibot ug ang pagpaagi kung yun sa sila pagtinabangay ug pagkauban aron mabuhi, nagpasabot kini nga ang tanang hayop, tanom, tubig, hangin ug yuta nagkiusa aron maporma ug balanse ang kanang kinaiyahan. So mao ra to siya. So ari na ko sa two parts of ecosystem. So non-living parts, habitat, the place with organism live and the living part, community. So the non-living part, habitat, the place where organism live like water or soil. Nya ang living part, community, the group of living things that depend on each other. So ang non-living part di is moto ang these are things that do not have life but they are important for living things to survive. They form the environment where organisms live. Example, water, air, sunlight, soil, and temperature. So in short, it's provide the place and the condition for life. Okay, sa living part. So sa living part, these are all the living organisms in the ecosystem. They interact and depend on each other for food, shelter, and survive. Example, plants, animals, bacteria, and human. In short, it's made up of all living things that use a non-living parts to live. So, mauto ang katong muna ang the two parts of ecosystem. So, ari ko sa sa biosphere. So, biosphere, all the areas, different ecosystem on Earth where life exists. Largest biological system on Earth includes lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, consists of ecosystem. Organism may be living, dead, or decaying organic matter. So, the parts of the biosphere is mo to ang lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. So, ang lithosphere, it is solid part of the earth, land, and rocks. So, ang katusang hydrosphere is all water, ocean, river, lakes, groundwater. Dayon ang atmosphere, mao na ang the layer of air around the planet. So, mauna ang katong kuan, di ba? So, biosphere means all the areas or ecosystem on Earth where life exists. It's the largest biological system on the Earth. Basically, it includes every place where living things can be found. So, katong parts of biosphere, mauman to ang lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere, di ba? So, the example, a forest is a part of biosphere. It has a tree living, mo to ang fallen leaves, mo to ang patay. So, and soil nutrients and decaying matters also interact with sunlight, air, and water. So, the biosphere is made up of ecosystem communities of all living things and their environment. It includes all living things as well as dead or decayed organic matter like fallen leaves or animals remain that still play a role in nature. So, yun.
Ecosystem. An ecosystem is a community where living and non-living things work together, and it has two main parts, abiotic and biotic factors. Abiotic factors is the non-living things like water, air, sunlight, and soil. And abiotic factors is the living things like plants, animals, and humans. And these two parts interact and depends sa usa-usa to survive. Ang kalahian sa duha is ang abiotic factors, which is the non-living things are the non-living parts of the environment that affect living things. For example, air, water, light, wind, soil, and temperature. They influence how plants and animals live, grow, and reproduce. While ang biotic factors, which is the living things, is the living parts of the environment, all plants, animals, and microorganisms. They depend on each other for food, shelter, and survival. Examples of relationships: competition, fighting for food or space; predation, one eats another; and next, mutualism, both help each other like bees and flowers; parasitism, one benefits and the other is harmed, like tick and dog. Interaction between biotic and abiotic factors. Living things biotic depend on living things abiotic to live. For example, plants need sunlight, water, and soil to grow. Fish need clean water and oxygen to survive. And lastly is the animals need air temperature to stay alive. And this interaction keep the ecosystem balanced.